Hey, yeah, so this is just going to be a quick overview of a few driving sort of fundamentals for iRacing. I'm going to be doing this in a Ferrari GT3, just because I'm sort of expecting that we're moving out of rookies into the D license. But all these things apply to different cars as well. It's not just the Ferrari. This is just a good one to kind of show it, as I think it's a car that you'll probably be driving soon. There'll probably be some tracks that you don't own or haven't driven before, but as I say, this all applies to different cars and different tracks. It's just generally showing some of the techniques to get more time out of laps. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet, but if you have any other questions or if anything needs explaining in a different way, I'm always happy to jump on a call or just do another one of these or anything like that. Just feel free to message me. So I'll jump in now. So the first thing that I think I'll go through is corners, and this might seem really obvious, but corners are usually made up of three main parts. So you've got the entry, the apex, and the exit. So when you're entering a corner, you generally want to brake in a straight line and go down the gears as quickly as you can. You might notice from the Mazda that if you try and change gears going around a corner, the car has a tendency just to kind of snap and rotate. And although that's exaggerated in the Mazda, it does apply to all cars. So generally, you're going to want to brake heavily in a straight line, and then when the car's at an appropriate speed for the corner, you can start turning in. But just watch you don't come off the brakes too soon. Actually having a little bit of brake whilst you're turning just keeps weight over the front axle and allows the car to turn in a little bit better. So generally, and you'll see this in some of the clips as well, I'm not actually releasing the brake until the car is over the apex, over the red and white curb. And then once the car is over the apex, I can release the brake and then straight onto the power. So I'll show you a couple clips now. The first one will be the bad example. So to begin with, I will actually be braking at the right time, but the car will be positioned in the middle of the track. You always want to try and aim to position the car to the white line and use all of the track. So by entering the corner in the middle and then exiting in the middle, I'm really compromising the speed that I can exit the corner. So this particular corner is turn 1 at Spa, and it's just after a really long straight, and then after this corner there's another really long straight. So it's really important to carry as much speed as you can through this corner, else you're compromising the entire lap. So by entering in the middle and exiting in the middle, it means I'm having to turn so much more to get around the corner, to the point where I have to go into first gear to get around the corner. That's a lot of time lost by just turning the car, and all that momentum that I've built up by the straight beforehand is all lost. And then that also means that when I actually straighten the car up, I've lost so much time by not accelerating that the entire straight that follows is then compromised. So this applies to most corners on really every track. You want to use as much of the track as possible. You always want to be entering a corner from the very edge of the track and then exiting on the very edge of the track. If you find that you're sort of entering a corner from the middle or exiting in the middle of the track, then it's really quite a compromised line to take. So I'll show you the difference now. So you'll see in this clip here, I'm entering from the middle, I'm braking at the right point, but I'm having to slow the car down a lot more, and I'm spending a lot of time turning the car to then accelerate in the middle. So this whole next section is compromised now because I've lost all that momentum. The next clip will be the correct way to do it. So you'll see that I'm entering the corner from the very left-hand side of the track, braking at the same point, but this time I can stay in second gear, and I'm spending a lot less time turning the car and more time accelerating. I'm accelerating as soon as I'm crossing the apex of the corner. And you'll see in the top-down view the same clip. So the first clip will be the bad version. I'm in the middle of the track, and there's just so much more. There's a much sharper angle that I have to actually turn before I can accelerate. Whereas in the correct clip, I'm on the very far side of the track on the white line. I don't have to turn the car as much, and that means I can accelerate a lot earlier. So the thing to really remember is that the exit of a corner is always the priority. You always have to make sure you accelerate as early as you can, even if it means going into a corner slower. They usually say in the spotter, slow in, fast out, and that's really the thing to remember. Don't always jump to get to the corner quickly. Just focus on accelerating out of the corner as quick as you can. Not every corner is as simple as this, so the next corner is a little bit different. So this next corner is a little bit different. We've actually got 3 corners joined together. At the end of this section, so at the end of the third corner here, there is a bit of a straight. So it's the most important that we get a good exit on that corner. What happens a lot of the time is that people try to perfect the first initial corners, but then by the time you get to the third corner, the line is compromised and you don't get a very good exit leading onto the straight. So again, I'll do a good version, or I'll do a bad version and then a good version. In the bad version, you'll see that I enter the corner as I described in the previous example, and I get to the second corner quite early. But that means when I'm spat out of that corner, I'm really far to the right-hand side of the track. And then after that, there's a right-hand corner. So we have the same problem as before, where I'm entering a corner from the middle of the track, compromising the exit onto the straight. The correct way to do it would be to compromise the initial 2 corners to make for a better exit on the third corner. So I'll show this example now. So I'm entering on the left hand side of the track, which is really good, and you'll see that I touch that apex really well and I'm straight onto that second corner. I'm now on the right hand side, entering a right hand corner from the middle of the track. I'm not able to accelerate until I'm really around the corner. Next will be the correct way to do it. So I'm entering the corner the same way, but I just tuck around on this corner just a little bit longer. So I stay to the right side here a little bit longer, and now I'm exiting the second corner on the left hand side, and I can accelerate much earlier onto this straight. And you'll see this from the top down version. So right here, I'm on the left hand side of the track, and this is the incorrect version. So I'm on the left hand side of the track, entering the corner fairly well. And you'll see that I touch the curb here, but I let go of this curb really early to get to the second corner. That's the mistake. I'm taking that as if it's just 2 corners, but this now means that I'm exiting this corner on the right hand side of the track, which is incorrect. I want to be on the left hand side of the track here to prioritize the exit onto the straight, because the straight is where we can make the most time. So this is now a compromised line. It still looks like it's okay, but you can lose a few tenths of a second on this, and it's one that it's quite easy to do, but this does apply to many different like chicanes and things as well. I'd call it like a sacrificial corner. So those first couple corners, we can sacrifice those to make sure that the final corner is better. So here I'm entering the same sort of way, but you'll see that I stick to that initial corner just a little bit longer. So as I'm entering, I'm on the apex here, but I'm staying on this curb for a lot longer. And then when I exit here, I take this second corner a little bit later, and you can see how much further to the left I am. So now this sets me up really well for the final corner of this section. You'll see I'm all the way over to the left now on that curb, and now I can start accelerating for that straight much earlier, which will give me a lot more speed. So it's just an important thing to remember that sometimes it feels quicker to get to a corner really quick, but it's always the exit that's the most important. And if you've got multiple corners joined together, and let's say the final part of that leads onto a straight, you've always got to think about what's the way that you can maximize that straight. How can you exit that final section the fastest? And sometimes that means compromising other corners. But generally, to take away from that, with cornering, you always want to enter a corner on the white line. You want to cross the apex, and you want to exit on the white line. You want to use as much of the track as possible, and you want to really avoid entering a corner or exiting a corner in the middle of the track. It will never be the quicker way, but besides whether, besides if you've got multiple corners joined together, sometimes, in like the case I've just given, you can sacrifice certain corners to maximise others. But that's where it just takes a bit of time to learn a track and have a little bit of an experiment with different things. So what I'll do now is I'll do a quick lap of Road America. This is still in the Ferrari, and I'll just kind of talk through some of the corners that we come to. So I'd say just pay attention to the pedal inputs. You can see when I'm braking, when I'm accelerating, and hopefully this helps connect some of the dots. So just go around the final corner. So this will take us onto the straight. So we're going full power onto the straight. The first corner will be a right hand turn, so I'm going to position the car obviously to the left, as close to the white line as I can. This corner, sometimes people take this in third. I think I will here. So slowly into third, and you can see I'm on the brake just to get the car to rotate in. This is another one where usually you can take this in second, but if you do this correctly with the brake, you can take this in third, really early on the power. So we've got a bit of a straight here, and I do the same thing. So you'll see that I'm on the brakes quite heavily to begin with, but I'm quite slow when I take the brakes off. I don't immediately take my foot off the brake pedal, and it means I can stay in second for this. And I take a really nice wide line in, early on the accelerator, and it takes me all the way to the edge of the track. Same here. So on the brake for a while, all the way around the corner, then early on the power. So I'm really staying on the brake for a long time. I'm not braking hard and then taking off the brake. I'm staying on the brake more or less all the way around the corner until I'm ready to accelerate. And what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on the front wheels. If you do it too much, the front wheels can lock up. But just the right amount, it means the front wheels can just grip a little bit more and help you turn in. And the same thing with the accelerator. When you exit a corner, a little bit of acceleration can move the weight to the rear of the car, and just help stabilize the car. Again, if you do that too much, you can spin the rear tires, but just a little bit when you exit a corner can help balance the car. So same here, a lot of brake, and then just really, really gently off the brake until I'm ready to accelerate nice and early, using as much track as possible. Again, you don't want to go off track, but just use as much as you can. You never want to be entering a corner or exiting a corner in the middle. You always want to be on the edge. Really early on the power. Being in a higher gear sometimes helps. Get on the power early. But this lap here was quite a good lap, and hopefully you can rewind or just see some of the inputs, and hopefully that helps. But as I say, if there's any other questions or if there's anything that needs explaining in more detail, some of these things are quite basic, but some things you can explain for a long time. They go into a lot of detail. So yeah, if you need any further help with anything, just let me know, and I'm happy to go over it again.